Welcome to the Story Geeks podcast. I'm Daryl.
I'm Jay.
And I'm Megan.
All right. And we today are announcing our official nominations list for the 2017 Movie Awards. This is sort of the second annual Movie Awards.
The whole reason for doing this, actually, is because whenever we watch the Oscars, we're sitting here going, there's not a lot of geek films, but we love geek films, and so we wanted to recognize geek films. So we took a whole list of geek films that qualify for this. Daryl actually compiled the list, nominate the films that fit in this geek list, and come up with your favorites for the year. And we came up with categories for that.
Sci-fi films, fantasy films, and comic book films.
Yep.
Before we get started, let's introduce our guests.
Yes.
This is Megan Salinas.
Hey guys! Thank you guys so much for having me back on. I'm Megan Salinas. I'm a host on AfterBuzz TV and the Popcorn Talk. I write for the Movie Chick, that's Chick with 2Ks. I host my own YouTube channel called Silver Screams, where we take a look at horror movies and TV shows. And you guys can follow me on Twitter at the Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
So we have Best Geek Movie, Best Geek Director, Best Actor in a Geek Movie. It can be supporting or lead. We have Best Actress in a Geek Movie, Best Geek Story, Best Geek Hero, Best Geek Villain. We have Best Fight in a Geek Movie, Best Scene in a Geek Movie. There's some overlap between those two. So just to mix things up, we threw in Worst Geek Movie.
Yeah, we are going to keep it to just the nominations. We're not going to talk about anything that may have been snubbed, because we're actually going to do a special episode on our Patreon channel where we do a follow-up to this podcast talking about what we think really was missed out on from the nomination committee. So we're saving that content for Patreon. We would really appreciate it if you support us on Patreon. If you go to thestorygeeks.com, that sends you straight to our Patreon channel. We actually already have some cool videos on there. We have a video where I come up with the stupidest fan theories, and then Daryl just laughs at me and tells me I'm an idiot.
Stupid or great?
I did not tell you were an idiot.
Yeah.
It may have occurred to me a few times, but I did not say it.
Watch Facebook, because sometime tonight we'll post the form where you can actually vote on these categories.
Yeah.
So make your voices heard. I feel like we should be in like tuxedos.
Well, I got my Flash shirt on. I feel like this is a geek tuxedo. We'll start with our nominees for Worst Geek Movie.
At what point am I viscerally allowed to just yell boo?
The nominees for the Worst Geek Movie are Alien Covenant,
Boo!
The Dark Tower,
I thought it was generic, but alright. If you wanted to see a story about the gunslinger, you're going to be disappointed.
that's why it's on the list. But we should mention this as we start talking. Spoiler warning. As we go through some of this, we're going to be talking about scenes. We're going to be talking about some stuff that happens in some of these plots.
They're not major spoilers per se.
No, but just be warned that for any geek movie that came out this year, we might potentially spoil something. Our third nominee for Worst Geek Movie is Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Fourth nominee is Resident Evil: The Final Chapter, which I did see and I did vote for. And it does deserve to be on this list. Our final nominee for Worst Geek Movie is Star Wars: The Last Jedi. I'm just kidding.
I was going to say, how dare you? Good day, gentlemen!
It is Transformers: The Last
Oh,
Night.
I didn't see it. I love Transformers, which is why I didn't see it. Age of Extinction hurt me so badly. I was like, I can't do this to myself anymore. The Age of Extinction hurt my soul.
Let's talk about Best Scene in a Geek Movie. Our first nominee is Deckard meets New Rachel in Blade Runner 2049. Somebody else referred to it as The Last Temptation of Deckard, which I thought was pretty good. Our next one is the Hyperspace Collision from Star Wars: The Last Jedi. Come on.
The sound cutting out, and you're just left with this beautiful spectacle of destruction.
That is, for me, one of the top 3 scenes in any Star Wars film.
Miguel sings to Mama Coco.
Stop.
At the end of Coco.
Stop.
I haven't seen Coco yet. I need to see it.
Stop. I'm about to cry right now. 30 seconds of the movie, I was like, oh no. It's just going to be waterworks this entire time. And I ugly cried my way through the entire thing. But that is definitely, I think, the most emotionally driven and emotionally hard-hitting.
Our next scene is No Man's Land from Wonder Woman.
Yes. Outstanding scene.
Wonder Woman was this wonderful, beautiful breath of fresh air.
Yeah.
And that scene was just, I think it was the best moment in the entire movie.
Okay, our final scene for best scene in a geek movie is Snoke's throne room. The best scene in all of the Star Wars saga.
All Star Wars ever.
And it's
Even
probably one of
including-
my top 10 scenes of any movie ever made.
What about the Vader scene in Rogue One?
That was really good, but this is way better.
Way better?
You know why?
Why?
Because I care more about these characters.
Than Vader?
Then Vader
You don't care about Vader. You're supposed to care
That's
about
true.
the people he's trying
That's
to
true.
kill.
That's true. That's fair.
Let's move on to best fight in a geek movie.
Best fight.
Justice League versus Superman from Justice League. The only time
I love that.
Justice League shows up.
The
on
only time Justice League shows up.
Yeah, it doesn't show up anywhere else.
Ooh.
To be honest with you, the only other place I saw it to get voted for was for worst movie. Our second nominee is Kylo versus Luke. Logan versus X-24 in Logan. So basically Hugh versus Hugh.
As excited as I am that a geek film is up for adapted screenplay. First of all, I wish they would tell you what it was adapted from, because if it's adapted from the Old Man Logan comics, it is adapted.
Yeah.
That comic is
loose.
Yeah.
I love that film 65% of the way through, and then I think they just dropped the ball in the last bit. So
It's nice for any sort of science fiction geek superhero film be nominated for something that isn't just sound mixing. Hey, superhero movie, you did a good story. Good job. Good job, story.
I think Patrick Stewart was totally worthy of a Best Supporting Actor nod.
Oh, I agree. Yeah, he was awesome.
The last two nominees for Best Fight are crossovers from Best Scene. So it's No Man's Land and Snoke's Throne Room yet again.
Oh, gosh, this is so tough.
Next category, we're going to talk about Best Villain in a geek
Yeah.
movie. So our first nominee is the Colonel from War for the Planet of the Apes.
By the way, Anthony Holdier says, "Can Joss Whedon count as the villain?"
Oh! I think Warner Brothers is the villain. Our second nominee for Best Villain is Ego from Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Our third nominee, first time this movie's popping up, is Kevin Wendell Crumb, or Dennis, or Hedwig, or the Beast, or was it Patricia? Is that the
I don't
female?
know.
Anyway,
James
from
McAvoy.
Split. James McAvoy's character
yeah.
from Split. Our fourth nominee for Best Villain is kind of a big old duh. It's Kylo Ren
Oh yeah.
from Star Wars The Last Jedi. In my opinion, the best Star Wars character.
I absolutely adore Kylo Ren as well.
Vulture from Spider-Man Homecoming,
Oh
who was
my
our last
gosh.
nominee.
Michael Keaton he's always fantastic.
Yeah.
You completely understand where he's coming from.
Let's move on to Best Hero in a geek movie. And we'll start off, again, War for the Planet of the Apes. We'll start off with Caesar. I hope someday Andy Serkis gets recognized for how amazing he is in the motion capture world. Our second nominee for Best Hero is Luke Skywalker. And then to keep it in the Star Wars family, our third nominee is Rey
Yeah,
from
girl.
Star Wars The Last Jedi.
I don't care what any of the Force Awakens haters say. Rey is fantastic.
Our fourth nominee is Spider-Man from Spider-Man Homecoming. For me, definitely the best cinematic Spider-Man.
He's adorable and sweet, and
That's true.
occasionally, social media blasts out Marvel spoilers, which is adorable.
Yeah.
Our last nominee for Best Hero, is Wonder Woman.
Woo!
Yeah.
Yeah, girl.
That's got to be on there. Every time anyone mentions like who should direct a movie, I'm like Patty Jenkins.
Yeah.
just give me more Patty Jenkins. That's all we need.
Absolutely.
Star Wars Episode 9?
Wonder
Patty
Woman.
Jenkins.
Yes!
Okay, let's move on to Best Geek Movie Story. Blade Runner 2049 comes back in here. Coco, which wonderful to
Haven't
see
seen
that
it,
on there.
Mm-hmm.
Split is our third nominee. Our fourth nominee for Best Geek Movie Story is Star Wars The Last Jedi. Our last nominee for Best Story is Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm going to choose that category because every single one of those you just read sounds
I know.
amazing to me.
They're all really good.
Yeah.
I know. Best Actress in a Geek Movie.
Ooh.
We're going to start off with Anya Taylor-Joy from Split. Not
Not a good
fun to
performance.
watch.
No, no, very
You guys
uncomfortable.
really don't like horror.
It's not.
It's true. That's true.
That's
for
true.
me.
It is true.
It's true for me.
Yes.
Actually, so because we talked about
Event Horizon.
Red Horizon.
Oh.
Oh my gosh.
I
Funny.
hate that movie so much.
Oh, it's so delightful. Hell
Oh.
is in space.
Hell is in space. Hell was in a movie
That's-
theater for 2 hours.
Anthony Holdier says, "Dude, no. Event Horizon equals childhood trauma. Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you watched it when you were a child.
I was 25 and I have childhood trauma.
I'm really bummed you guys don't have a best horror movie category.
Oh, yeah, maybe next year. Probably not.
That would require watching horror movies.
That's right, it would.
Yeah, what's the best horror movie? I don't know. Coco.
Did you see all those skeletons? It was terrifying.
I was so scared.
Next nominee for Best Actress is Dafne Keen from Logan, who played Laura in Logan, for those of you who may not know. She actually made a character look more brutal than Wolverine.
It's true.
Daisy Ridley, Star Wars The Last Jedi.
She's so good.
I mean, come on.
I mean, I think like Kylo's performance is getting a lot of attention, but I think Daisy Ridley's performance is right there with his.
I don't want to say this. I don't know how to pronounce this name. Just
Don't ask me. Don't ask me to do it.
I feel like I'll probably get it wrong, but Gal Gadot.
She who played Wonder Woman is our fourth
The
nominee
Wonder Woman herself.
for Best Actress in a movie. Chau from Downsizing. She's amazing. So, Best Actor in a Geek movie, Adam Driver, Star Wars The Last Jedi. Hugh Jackman in Logan.
Oh.
James McAvoy from Split.
That might just win based on the numbers.
I know.
Yeah, exactly.
Do you play
How
one
many-
character or 23?
Yeah.
You have
Oh
James
my gosh.
McAvoy playing somebody with multiple personalities where one of the personalities is
Is
pretending to be
another
another
personality.
personality. Okay, next we have Mark Hamill from Star Wars The Last Jedi.
Yep.
Ryan Gosling is our fifth nominee
Blade
from Blade
Runner.
Runner 2049.
I think he did fantastic.
Ready for Best Director?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I'm going to let you pronounce our first Best Director
No, don't let
on
me
the
do
list.
it.
Come on, give it a shot.
I just will offend half the internet. As far as I know, it is Denis Villeneuve.
Yeah, something
Is
like that.
right?
Yeah.
Close enough. I used to call him Denis Villeneuve for the longest time. And Daryl would be like, "Hey, just say that again, Jay." I'm like, "No, I'm not saying it again."
Our next nominee is James Mangold for Logan. Jordan Peele for Get Out.
Guy have full
Yeah.
confidence in literally anything he does.
He's legit. Everybody ready to talk about Patty Jenkins?
Yay!
Oh yeah. Yep.
There are two directors who I think need more recognition because we need more women's voices, not only in directorial films, but in the superhero genre, science fiction, and action in general.
Yeah.
That's really important.
I don't see how Patty doesn't win for us. So I need to see that film
Yes.
because maybe it will be neck and neck for me as well. But right now, it's like hands down Patty.
Okay, so we still do have one more nominee for Best Director, and it is, of course, Rian Johnson for Star Wars The Last Jedi. It's time for the big one. The
Best
big
movie.
category.
Best
Best Geek Movie.
Best geek movie.
Our first nominee is Blade Runner 2049. Our second nominee is a little bit surprising, I think, but it's Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2. Logan is our third nominee for Best Picture. What do you want to say about that?
I agree with that to 60% of the way through.
No surprises here. Our fourth nominee, Star Wars The Last Jedi. Okay, our final nominee for our final category, Best Geek Movie, is Wonder Woman.
Again, no surprise.
No.
I think Wonder Woman is a phenomenal film. It's my number 2 comic book movie of all time.
There you have it, folks.
That is it.
Those are our nominees.
Definitely stay tuned for us to post the link because those are just the nominees. You actually get to choose the winners on March 11th, which is a Sunday. We're going to do another live video. We'll be live on YouTube. We'll be live on Facebook, maybe even a couple more places.
There'll be a red
And-
carpet coming up.
Yeah.
Studio.
Exactly.
Watch Facebook. We will put out the link to the form so you can go vote. And voting will be open through February 28th. So you've got a little over a month to get your votes in.
Yep.
And you've got a little over a month to tell everybody you know about this and have them get their votes in.
Yeah, you got to go do that. Make sure you get this into as many hands as possible. That'd be fantastic. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Thank you so much, Megan, for coming out.
Thank you guys for having me.
Yeah, Megan had to drive a really, really long ways, but we all know that you love hearing Megan, so
Aw.
we appreciate her doing that.
It was
And
my pleasure.
Yeah.
You guys can follow me on Twitter and Instagram at The Menguin. That's TheMenguin.
And you can follow us at The Story Geeks.
You should do
Yeah.
a Facebook Live reaction of you watching Event Horizon.
Well, Event Horizon, yes, for sure.
So people can see you
Yeah.
hiding behind
It'll
the
say,
couch.
this will be rated R due to Jay's vocabulary. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye, YouTube.